And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Global Citizens. My name is Calvin. I am the show's host, and I'm, of course, its creator. So, my guest for today is actually somebody who is really amazing. And also, the reason being is that this episode is quite special because it's actually its 90th episode. And I've never thought I can even come up until this far. So, the number is really something for my own personal milestone. And of course, this very guest actually is the first one that actually reached out to me through my own social media and actually tell me about some interesting stuff that she's doing. So my guest for today is Miss Szilvia Udvarnoki. Szilvia is the country director of Moovs Digital, which she moved to Singapore in January 2020 to expand the business in the Asia Pacific market, which unfortunately is before the pandemic, but that's another story. So this is her fourth relocation. She used to live in Austria, Netherlands, and in the United Kingdom. So she's passionate about creating digital solutions and technological innovations that globally bring smarter experiences to customers. And she hoped to bring more innovation to the Singapore digital scene in collaboration with other agency peers. So without further ado, I will pass the spotlight back to her. So Sylvia, how are you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine. Very excited. This is my first podcast, so it's not just a milestone for you, it's a milestone for me. So yeah, I'm very, very excited, especially to do with you, because you are also like such a great guy. And when we first talked to each other, I already knew that this is a beginning of a beautiful collaboration and friendship.
Thank you. You hear that, Mom? You hear that? I'm a great guy. All right. Okay. All right. So, all right, we will jump into the very first question. So, this is something I like to ask entrepreneurs and somebody who is a managing director of a company's expansion. So, in order for people to actually get to know a little bit more about your own personality, what you believe in, and of course, what your company's vision could align to, because you are leading them in a sense from their expansion. Please rank these according to which you feel is the most important as a business runner. People's connection, intelligence, and profit. And why do you rank it as so?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would actually rank it in the same way, because just to take Singapore as an example, because here it's very crucial to have a connection with people, get to know them. It's part of the whole culture. Otherwise, it's kind of really restrictive to do business here. Right. And then obviously, when you meet people, you gather information. So you learn a lot about the market, how people do business, what are the etiquettes and the traditions. So that's kind of the intelligence part, to get to know the area. And without connections, you can't really approach that, or you can, but it's going to take a lot of time. And then obviously the end result is to talking to people and, get the information, is to gain profit. So I know many people don't like to hear this, but at the end of the day, that's, we all want to get more revenue and, make our companies successful. And for that, unfortunately or fortunately, we need money. So that's how I see it. And yeah, I think Singapore is a great scene to connect people, because it's so diverse. So you can learn a lot about different cultures, and actually it helps you to adopt, because every time you talk to different type of people, so you have to talk to them in a different way, because some people are very direct and they want to know immediately, like, why am I want to talk to them? And some people are more reserved, and then you should have like multiple warm-up sessions. But that's kind of a part of the intelligence, that to shift between these calls, and 1 minute you are talking this way and the other like another way. But it's a great challenge, it's a great push, and it's very interesting to do business here in Singapore.
All right. Okay, for those who is watching here for the first time, Global Citizens is an online platform that promotes intercultural awareness and representation of the third culture kids community. The reason being is that I want people to tune in to actually understand this kind of global life when you move into a new country, to move to a business, or maybe when you are younger, you actually follow your parents for their multiple business endeavors, or some of them could be children of diplomats or military personnel. This is not a holiday, it's not an extended vacation. This is a life whereby you have to change who you are. What you believe, how you talk, simply is because you just want to fit in with other people. And recently also, this is a platform to actually promote intercultural studies and also for to dispel racism, because with the recent case that's happening in the United States with the minorities and especially within the Asian community. As a former soldier myself, I've carried a gun, and it's a nightmare when you see something like that, having the capability to take away the life of someone who look like you or your loved ones. So I really hope people who tune in understand that this is not a holiday, not something to for fame or glory or whatever. I mean, if you want to give me money, it's fine. I'm not going to reject it, but at the end of the day, this is what I created this for. All right. So we'll pass the spotlight back to Szilvia. Please share with us more about your company, Moovs Digital, and how has the pandemic actually affected your company's expansion plan, and also for yourself personally, how are you handling the cultural difference within Singapore and where you're from?
So let's start how I got affected. So I moved here in 2020 January with the intention that I'm gonna travel all around Asia. It will be a lot of fun, long weekends in Bali, and go to Christmas time to Japan. And then after 1 month or two, I was in a lockdown with a stranger flatmate. So who is actually from Japan, but it was a shock. I think it's not even the lockdown that was difficult for me. It was more when, after 3 months, when there was no more lockdown, and then to leave the apartment. So that was the hard part, to push myself out and not to be afraid to go out. It was just I wasn't like really afraid. It's just psychologically how it affected me that I just couldn't. I got so used to be inside that it was really hard for me to go outside. And then obviously this affected our business, because in 2020, we wanted to be more cautious with the expansion, but we took it as an opportunity for two ways. One is to narrow down our portfolio, because we had a lot of things that we were doing, and we totally rebranded the company. So we have totally new logo and new name, and then building social media presence, because we had zero. So we had somewhere some Facebook accounts and some LinkedIn accounts, but there was nothing on it. And then we started to write blogs, create animation, designs, try to put ourselves out there and kind of represent who we are, which we never really expressed before. And then obviously this year was easier. And then when we did all the groundwork, then I started to reach out to people like yourself so that we can do sales, and we have everything in order. And then obviously, as I said, we narrowed down what we were doing, because before, since 2005, we were only doing e-learning platforms and development with premium content production for mid or big size companies. And that was our core business. But because of pandemic, many of our customers were suffering, shops are closed. So we came up that we realized that we have to shift a little bit more to PR, sales, and marketing. So we had the knowledge of immersive solutions like AR, VR, but now we are doing even more. So we are experimenting a lot with AR filters and everything like AR applications that we just recently developed in order to help. And then we also created something totally new, which is not on the market or has been on the market, but not in this way, is a 360 experience space, which you can use for like a store or showroom or a heritage site or a bar, or I don't know. It's like a never-ending way to explore and to actually have another sales channel, which is in between physical and digital, where you can, list selling points, the main unique selling points, and also place the product in your own environment through AR, and you don't need an app, it's a web AR solution. So this will help and helps our customers to have a physical store. In case it's closed, you have something which is digital and physical, and then the e-commerce part, because it's connected to your e-commerce system, so people can place, and this is, can be used by employees, customers, and B2B partners, whoever. So it's quite a solution. So that's what was our reaction to the pandemic, and I think we had to do something, otherwise you won't survive. And yeah, that was basically our strategy so far.
Okay. Well, something is better than nothing, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So earlier, during your introduction, I mentioned some of the countries that you have lived in: Austria, Netherlands, UK, and you are originally from Budapest, Hungary. Yeah?
That's correct.
Yep. Okay. What do you feel, though, is the key ingredients now to create a working environment that can fit a global mindset for people from differing countries, differing cultures, differing mindsets and approach? As you mentioned earlier, some of the people can be straightforward, but there are those you need to hold back a little bit. You need to interact more before you actually start doing business. This is relating to the trend with remote working that COVID has actually made people do. Because those who do manage to take the opportunity, one of the things that they notice is that now they can actually hire employees and staff from other countries, that due to the exchange rate, they are able to pay at a cheaper price, for one. And second, sometimes people may have a different kind of approach, and it could be something that actually make them a natural fit for the business. But there are those who may not be for that. So yeah, from your own experience from multiple relocation as an expatriate, what is your insight on that?
Yeah, and also to add to your point, actually, it's also good to have like multiple time zones. So actually that way, if you hire somebody, then you can kind of have a 24/7 coverage on top of it. So for a cheaper price, for possibly a cheaper rate. I think many aspects. Actually, I think last year I wrote a blog about this, because for me, culture is very important within the company. I believe that, hierarchy is not important. So I believe in flat organizations, because it's not really efficient that you have a lot of hierarchy and then you have to go through the protocols, because now you have to have a survivor mode. So chop, do the job. And, if you have to go X, Y, and Z, it just really prolong the process, and then your business will react much slower to any situation. So that's, I think, one of the most important thing. The other thing is that you have to hire people, like different type of people, because that's how you create something unique. We all good at something, and the more diverse group you have, the better it is, because you have a reflect and different point of view that you can implement into your product, and then maybe you see you don't see something that other people do. But having said that, my number one rule that I learned in few years back then is to eliminate any negative behavior people, because that's so even if you have one person in your organization can destroy everything with the negative mindset and turn into kind of very bad situation, and maybe people who were not negative became negative or see other way, and then it's so hard to fix that damage. So I always try to avoid. So some people don't understand me, but it's just I have this feeling, and then I'm like, okay, no, thank you, goodbye, because go somewhere else, because it's too bad for the business. Then I think what is very important is the fun time. So to spend time together, to build relation, to hang out. It's like a family. So our company is like a family. We know each other. We know each other's family. We always support each other if we have any big event in our life, wedding, or recently one of our colleagues just had a baby. So, and we try to surprise them with tiny little digital cards or anything, like just a little favor that you can, to consider and achieve, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is the people in the business, and you have to take care of them, and not just the fun time, but also psychologically. So it's a very difficult time, and you need to give people the support. So what the team is doing in Budapest is, having one-on-ones every month, where people can tell everything what is inside of them, and then try to find a solution or try to fix the problem if there is any, or support them in any way if they are struggling because of the distance. Because in Hungary, I think the guys haven't seen each other since summer. So that's a very difficult, even that we are a digital company, it's, it impacts us because we have creative people, and for creativity, you need to meet people. So otherwise it affects your creativity. And then I think the other thing that I personally believe in is the kind of a boutique model. So to have this family structure, so like a smaller company structure. I think that works everywhere, and then you can keep it within the family, and then you have your own, you can set your own culture, and it's very clear by everybody, and then easy to follow and then interact with each other.
Okay. Yeah. Earlier you mentioned on your company's culture is more. It has a more family dynamic, yeah, and its importance, right? So
Yes.
I want to ask something though. Is that what was the original vision that the founder of the company in Budapest actually had, and how has it stayed strong throughout the company's expansion and its growth? Because one of the things I notice a lot with organization is that as they grow, what the founders has believed has diluted over the years. Because some of the sad part when you are running a business as actually not doing the business is actually dealing with the politics. That's the
Yes.
reality behind it, sadly.
Yes.
So how has what do you know about the founders' original vision and mission, etc., and how has it been continuing throughout the company's growth and so far?
I think the origin, actually, I never forget my first interview when I went to the company. It was right from the start. I knew who is Moovs Digital, actually formerly Queens, that was our name. It was all about crazy lunatic. So people would think that we are like out of the from another planet, who are very creative, very driven, and very passionate people, and who loves to spend time together, loves to create new things, to innovate, and put something out there that we are all commonly as a group, as a team, proud of. So I think that was the whole idea, and also that you have a freedom. So some people like this, some people don't, but I think for creativity you should have some freedom, no limitations. So we don't have a very fine line what people are responsible for. So that's another thing, that you are able to work individually and freely, as well as in groups, and we respect each other, we listen to each other. And I think if you grow, the bigger you grow, you will lose some of this identity. I believe that. I have been working in corporate environments where we had family environment, and I think it was so. In order to avoid this, is to have people who are very good keeping the culture inside. So you have to have those people who really in the center, and try to grab the team, and we still gonna be a family, we still care for each other, or let's go out, have a beer on Friday evening, or let's talk, or I don't know, just go and hike during the weekend. These kind of people very, very much needed in the organization. And then it could work, but yes, there will be some points that, because if you have like 3,000 people, it's really hard to manage to have the force a boutique model on it. I think it's not even natural, then it would be like really forced. You will grow, and then I think you will find a way to make it work. It's a different journey for everybody, but the key is the people, to have the right people in the company.
Okay, that's good. That's good. One of my personal idol, Sir Richard Branson, once says, you need to train somebody to the point that they can leave the company, but you need to treat them so well that they don't want to leave the company. So I'm glad that actually, I think in a sense you guys are applying it, and I think it's working so far. Of course,
Yes.
Pandemic may affect productivity and stuff, but at least there's a good culture within the company to actually keep continuing moving forward. Yeah.
Actually, like you create like your little ambassadors for the company. So even if you leave, right. we have many people who left our company, but they still come back and visit us every time. So we all stay together, or if we need extra capacity, sometimes we were asking them, and they were like, without hesitation, like, of course we're gonna help you. So this is the culture that you want to create. It's like normal family. You will fly out of the basket, like like a bird. You have to let go the little birds, but they are still part of the family. So that's our identity, and we are proud. So that's what you want to create, that proudness, that you will be part of this whole company.
Fair enough. Okay, earlier you mentioned the word freedom, yeah? Do you believe that micromanagement, is still relevant in today's working world? I have defended it only on certain occasions. It's basically an industry whereby life is as put at stake, maybe in the food and beverage, or maybe something to do with civil servant, and of course, the frontliners who have served the community well during the pandemic. So to you guys, thank you for all the sacrifices. And I also want to wish some condolences, because a friend of mine whose father is a doctor passed away recently due to COVID. So my condolences to the family, and yeah, we really respect the frontliners who are doing it. But those jobs that I mentioned, whereby life is at stake, there's a certain interval hours that allow a superior and a subordinate to bond, because it allows them to actually get to know, hey guys, I don't mean to be harsh to you all, but this is the work that we need to be serious about. If not, well, somebody's life is at stake. Somebody could get food poisoning, or if you're a surgeon, if you are not strict with your mentee, then they may cause somebody to lose their blood clot or something. So, but the thing is that this kind of mindset was carried over from, I think, when a company would be started. In the past, micromanagement is still accepted, but in today's society, it's not something that everyone wanted. In fact, there's a news, I think, in Singapore, whereby companies who mandate a 5-day work week will not be able to get many employees, sorry, because nobody would want to apply them. So, do you feel though micromanagement is still relevant, especially for your industry?
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak from an agency point of view. I don't like micromanagement. I'm fully against in the agency environment because it just kills your talent and personality, because then someone who is over you, tells you like one by one what to do, and then you don't think outside of the box. You don't try to find a solution or maybe think of another way of doing things because you are in a box, and then you are so restricted. And I don't believe in restriction. And also, like, people are so afraid to make mistakes, but actually you learn from making mistakes. Otherwise, how you learn? So I'm not that type of person, and this is, as I mentioned, in our cultures, we believe in working freely, and and for a creative person to have a micromanagement is not going to work. I mean, it will affect the work tremendously. But I totally agree with you. Like in case of military or something like civil servant, you have to have micromanagement because there are a lot at stake. But in the business world, I don't believe in micromanagement at all. Like I had bosses like that, and it was not a fairy tale story, just to say the least.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Earlier you mentioned on the word restriction. Yeah. One of the upcoming trends sometimes is, of course, due to the necessity in today's landscape, is the rise on in entrepreneurship, because some people need to survive. Some people may took the opportunity during the pandemic to actually develop themselves, or they realize that they don't have to be in the office. Then they realize, oh, okay, actually I enjoy this mindset, this style. I can actually work with my. I can actually stay at home. I can look after my kids. I can upgrade myself while I'm still doing work, even if there is a supervision on there, nobody is there to watch you like a hawk, that you have to be this way. So one of the ones who actually start pursuing entrepreneurship now, or maybe even content creations, are the younger generations, the millennials. Well, I'm actually a millennial, so we can call it the millennials and post-millennial.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you feel the system has to adapt now to be able to create a culture that would fit with the millennials and post millennials? Because while we can't blame how people used to do stuff in the olden days, but the thing is that there are certain things now that does not work moving forward. I actually have heard somebody says, I'd rather die than do my work digitally, which
Wow.
you can't really say anything to that. If you want to die, please die. You then die, but nobody else should be held responsible for it.
Wow.
That's sad to hear that. But the thing is there are still people who want to live, who want to support their family. So how do you feel though, this digital era could with stuff? How do you feel? What kind of culture could be put in place?
Yeah, I think actually millennials is a great example, because I think millennials is like the shifters or the adapters. We are right in between the boomers and the Gen X, and then also, the Gen Z. So we kind of understand both sides because we we were born in an era which there was no digital transformation, so we understand that, but then we had to learn. And then, the Gen Z were totally born in digitalization. So for them, it's quite hard to understand, our parents or, for example, my
Guys, last
sister.
time we need to have a model dial connection to have internet.
Yes,
Yes, we need to
exactly.
plug it into the phone, and then we have to make the modem or something. Yeah.
I never
But even
forget, I had
then,
my first mobile in 1999. I was so excited. And today it's just a mobile phone, but it was like such a big thing. Or my first iPhone in 2008. Oh my God, like the 3G, like, wow, like it was so amazing. But like for a Gen Z, like, it's like, what's wrong with you? It's like every day I have my mobile phone at the age of 6. I'm like, okay, good on you. But yeah, I think millennials is good because we understand we can shift and adapt for the situation. And, life is all about, changing and adapting. You can't avoid that. And that's how we grow, and that's how we challenge. Otherwise, life would be so boring. So I think there should be, kind of change how we work. So, for example, my parents lived in communism, and we had a song which like 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours of entertainment. And that was their life, basically. Everybody had a secure job. Everything was like communist way, you have everything, but don't complain. Just the basic, and everybody lived on the same level. And that's how we grew up at the beginning. And now it's like unbelievable to see that, for example, I'm in Singapore, which is like the most innovative city and country ever. But I think we need to adapt. If someone says that rather die to switch, either you want it or you don't want it, it's gonna happen, or you're not gonna have a job. So what you gonna do? So you have to have that. And have the business mentality. As I said before, I don't believe in restriction. You have to have an open mind and look for new ways of working. And new doesn't mean bad. So it's just some people, I think it's just the first reaction, like, oh no, or when we hear it, like, back in the old days, it was much better, those sentences. It's always shifting from generation to generation.
Funny enough, my dad actually said that like yesterday. So
yes.
I'm like, oh man,
yes.
This again. Yeah.
And we're gonna say the same thing. I know that, it's the same thing that you say, like some millennials, like the millennials are lazy, and I think that already switched to Gen Z. So it's always passed on, like, oh no, you guys are lazy. 20 years ago you were lazy, or I don't know, but now you are lazy. So it's always like that. It's inevitable, to be honest. So yeah.
Fun fact, the first time Szilvia and I actually have a video call, I actually was singing to one of Queen's song, and she recommended me about Beatles, which was way before my time. So I'm like, what? What's that? So yeah, I actually haven't completed her homework of hearing Beatles. So
yeah, because you said that it's you had an idea of the Beatles, that's only how they sing or do music.
It's too the later. I only know about the later part. It's too slow paced, so I don't like it. So okay, that could be something that is an example of difference between generation and what we all know and what we all believe in, right?
And then I think you ask about the business side. If someone wants to initiate a business, if I would recommend, I would definitely. So I learn a lot. It's kind of like a boot camp, like for life, doing business. So you learn a lot about life. You learn a lot about yourself and your capabilities. Starting a business, I think the hard part is the first step. It's like what you want to do, what is the business. But after you know that, it's just you're gonna figure it out on your own. And there are people out there that you can ask help. I mean, I ask a lot of help because I'm not perfect, and some people already went through this. So, and I believe, and I think everybody is so open to help others so they don't suffer or they didn't know about things before they start the business. So it's just exploration. At first you explore yourself, and then second you explore the market or the country itself, and then you start slowly by doing it. But it's a good training, and it makes you like a warrior, like a survivor warrior, because everything is possible. It's only us who have this mindset that we are not capable of doing things. And then, you just have to start to make the first steps. And then I think, we are good at something, and we are all clever human beings that, no restriction. Life, you are your own restrictions, and you make your own choices, and it's gonna impact your life.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned on restriction, yeah? What do you feel though resulted in the miscommunication between cultures, and when you're dealing with different cultures and different generation? And how would you yourself, especially when you're managing Moovs now in Singapore, how would you facilitate the adaptation to different cultures, or somebody who come from different generation? Is because people have ego and people want their way in the end. But the thing is that how do you get them to follow? Okay, guys, like it or not, this is your company. This is how we work. How do you facilitate it to make sure that in moving forward, and hopefully maybe those who are watching this, you will have an opportunity to work with Szilvia sometime in the future. So if they do join, what do you want to implement in place for your team?
I think one of the keys is the openness. So I think all about culture and cultural differences, that you are open and try to understand the other person's perspective, and then try to collaborate on that to find a common solution. It's like, don't say no before doing anything, because I think that's what I feel sometimes, that people are like, no, and then you haven't even listened to me, like, hold on for a sec. So I think that's one of the things, and don't have the black and white mindset, because there are a lot of gray areas in business and in life in general. We are complicated. We are human beings, and we are really complicated. And have a positive mindset. So that's how we work. I always believe that if someone is like a no person, try to see the problem and try to find a solution. So don't take it personally. My colleague, for example, Dario, is amazing that he's always just seeking for solutions, no matter how negative feedbacks, if he receive any. He's just like, really like, okay, we have a problem, people calm down, and then have a solution for it. We can do this and that and that, because if you provide solutions, the other side cannot regret it, because you can say, okay, I'm still gonna say no, because at least that person offered. So I think our culture in the business is, which I forgot to mention before, is the equality. So we give equal opportunities to everybody. We don't discriminate and have this open mindset. That's part of our everyday culture. And I think that's the key. And approach people with love, not hate. So, and then I think everything is going to be fine, and, click in a right way.
Fair enough. All right. This is going to be my last question. Some people may take it too controversially, but some people actually like this question. So, well, I don't really care. This is my show. I can do whatever the hell I want.
That's correct.
All right.
And anyway, we are here, so we don't have any other choice to answer that question, I suppose.
Yeah, but actually, yeah. Funny enough, some people who invited me to their podcast actually asked me back this question as a revenge. So I'm like, man, this is not fair. Okay, but I don't care about that anyway.
It is.
Yeah. All right. The last question is, if you can create a society or system from based on your own principles and experiences, what would it be like?
Yeah, it is a
Again,
hard
just to
question.
clarify, yes, it is. Just to clarify, I'm not trying to say we are trying to play gods here. We are not. We are not trying to insult. We are God fearing people, and we respect any culture. But the reason why I ask this is because this is about the persons themselves. Because everybody can say, "Oh, if I'm in this position, I can do it better." Okay, so I'm giving you this question to actually understand what actually is somebody's perspective based on their experience. If a system is created by them, what would it be like? So yeah, Sylvia.
I think I can only refer when I was like first time very happy in my life, and that was high school and college. And I think the reason was it's
No
because it was
responsibility.
multicultural. No, it was full multicultural, and that's when
Oh,
I first met people from all around the world, and I was like, wow, it's like shock. So I would create a society definitely which is multicultural, and there is no hate and racism, just openness. And I think the ground that many people are not focusing on is the education. So because if you don't have the education, or if you don't have the wealth, many people tend to switch to extreme ideas, and then it immediately turns into hate.
yeah,
But I think if you have a mindset that you teach your kids, and it's a multicultural environment for them, it's normal to have different race or different sexuality within the group.
yeah,
And then in the future, it's not going to affect. And also, I believe that it's so crucial to learn different languages through the education. It also makes you think differently. It's amazing what it does to you. So definitely I would put multi-languages in the education. And then the health system, that I think these days that I would definitely focus on health. And what I think the big mistake in our region in Europe is, and maybe also in America and versus Asia, is that in Asia it's prevention, and we kind of like, oh, we have a problem, let's take a tablet. So maybe to switch globally the prevention part, how we can avoid health problems and put money in health problems, because I think that is something that none of the countries are take care of, and now
yeah,
they face a lot of issues. And then I'm not even mentioning psychological problems that nobody, like some, as you said, in some cultures it's not acceptable, or it's not even existing, but it's there. So it's just like they blindfolded the situation, but it's still there. So I would definitely focus a lot. And then obviously, just to talk home, is the digitalization. So I would definitely implement a lot of digital solutions, but in a way that it doesn't harm us, because I believe that too much not good for us, but only just to help us. So only apply innovations that help us, so that we can enjoy life. I think as a closing point, I want to create like a balance, because I believe in that sense what the Italians are doing, that they also enjoy life. It's not all about work, but it's also
yeah.
about you and enjoying the life. And I think these days that's what we are missing a lot. That's why I think the pandemic was a shock for many people, that you have to look into yourself and face your demons that you were constantly numbed by work.
Right.
So I think, kind of try to create a balance. Work is good, but you have to take care of yourself as well at the same time, and spend time with your family, because it's very important.
All right. Okay, first off, if you all are interested to hear for cultural immersion, there's actually prayer nearby my house. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's part of the local immersion. Thank you.
Yeah, I
And
love that in Istanbul as well. I loved it. It was just giving you a feeling. It's so amazing. Like, wow.
all right. Okay, that's actually the last question I have for today for Sylvia. So first off, if you guys are interested to try to create something like a podcast, or you want to learn digital graphics, there's a $10 credit from StreamYard and Canva, which is located in my description box. And there's also actually a credit for Airbnb, a promo code, which I know you guys can't use it now, but it could come handy sometime in the future. Hopefully, it's not yet expired. So, okay. Last but definitely not least, I have to thank Sylvia for making the time to come today.
Oh,
The
thank you.
episode will be available on my Instagram TV, and it will also be available on my YouTube. Other than that, Sylvia, anything else you want to add on?
No, thank you so much. I mean, it was such a great opportunity, and I was very excited, and I was very nervous, but I survived, guys. Whoever is out there for the upcoming episodes, and it's a great experience. Yeah, it was. Thank you, really. I love talking to you, and now I never did it live, but we made it. Another milestone for us, Calvin.
Well, I've done this for 90 times, so it's kind of used to it.
Yes.
10 more episodes, then I can call it a milestone, I guess.
Yes.
All right.
And listen to Calvin, because he's a clever guy, and this is actually a very cool channel. So I encourage everybody to do so and follow him everywhere. I look out for him.
Thank you. All right. So that's the end of episode 90 of Global Citizens, Importance of Content for Business in 2021, and how it will impact the future of business in the new normal. So with that, please take care, everyone. Have a good day or night or whatever time zone you are in, and please stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.